Okay, this is my garden. So I will tour you and will show you some of my plant collections. Okay, let's go. So nagko-collect ako ng mga philodendrons. So this one is giganteum or blizzard. And I've watched some of the video na they say hindi daw magkaiba yung blizzard and variegated giganteum. That's the variegated giganteum. This is the blizzard. It's just that the blizzard, or you have, kumbaga, the same silang plant. They are not different now. Well, I don't know yet. So I have to confirm that one. So this is the blizzard. And this is Paraiso Verde. And this is Monstera Thai constellation. This is a hybrid of Anthurium, but I forgot. My God, I forgot the hybrid, the cross-parent of it. This one over there is Angela, or African Fantasy. It's a slow grower plant. That one. It's the market value at around this time. It's still expensive, no? No? Oh, so well. Hindi ko pa siya na-propagate, and I don't have plans to propagate. This one is Bobsy. That one is Farsiwixi. This one. This is a matured form Farsiwixi. And then this one is a matured form Pinatipatita Monstera. And the rest, I collect the heart-shaped leaves. This is Lainami, Philodendron Lainami. This one is McDowell, yeah. And this one is Pastazanum. Yun. And this one, I waited for like almost a year to have this mature form. Actually, hindi pa yan mature kasi lalaki pa yan. SP Peru. One. Yeah. And the rest, actually, they're still small. You know, it takes time. Ngayong rainy season, yung growth ng plants hindi masyadong mabilis because they only receive the intensity or the light intensity. So some plants they love the rain, and some plants they prefer more of a sunny day. So yun. This one is Glad Hands, a mature form Glad Hands. And this is Ataba Puense, mature form. I propagated the Ataba Puense kasi malaki na talaga siya. So this is how big the one leaf of Ataba Puense. And I have some, yung mga new acquired plants, Chardonnay Goat and Chardonnay AFF, Ernestii, this one, mga ganon, Florida Beauty. So yun. It's a mix of philodendron, anthurium, so mostly aroids. And at the back of the house, iba naman yun. I love ferns as well. Kaso lang bumagyo last week. may two big ferns na nahulog. So nabasag yung pot. This one. No, it's not Boston. Peruvian fern. Yan, Peruvian. Actually, ferns, they love water. So you have to water the ferns every day to have a nice growth. Kasi this is just more than a year old na Peruvian. Some of my friends, they have it for 3 years, 4 years, but not as big as that. The reason why it's bigger and it's more lush, it's because malapit siya sa fountain. So yung humidity mas high compare mo sa ibang area. So the higher the humidity, mas maganda yung growth ng ferns.
Ayan, good morning everyone and welcome again to Green Hobby. So this is JR and I'm still here in Bacolod City. Super excited ako ngayon kasi kakaiba yung ating gagawing interview. So I'm not only, di lang to one-on-one, no, pero 4-on-1. So yun, so this is a bit different kasi...
It's 5-in-1.
5 in 1.
Instant coffee.
So it's a bit different yung gagawin natin because kasama ko ngayon yung mga bago ko lang na-meet ng mga friends dito sa Bacolod City, Iskandari kong yung bata. So, ang obrahonta is that we will go around, ask questions about plants, and then everyone can just answer. But before we go to that, we'll have a short introduction, of course, sa bawat isa. But we will start, of course, with the owner of the house, si Miss Farrah. So, Miss Farrah, introduce yourself.
Hola! Hi, I'm Farrah Georgescu, and I am a plant enthusiast.
Yun. Thank you, Miss Farrah. Next, dito naman tayo.
Hi, I'm Roy, one of the plant enthusiasts also of Bacolod.
Thank you. Next.
Kim again, aglaw enthusiast.
Hi, I'm Louie, Singonyo enthusiast.
And our next Singonyo, may aglaw. Si Miss Farrah yung owner of the house. So marami siyang plants dito.
Not really.
Ayaw niyang aminin. So let's ako na lang mag-start ng question. So paano mo inisip yung setup ng house na dapat ba may plants talaga? Yun ba yung parang first vibe na gusto mo?
Since I love plants, gusto ko kasi i-incorporate yung plants as part of the house. So I always love, or I always dream of this outdoor setup to extend my kumbaga, na-extend ko yung space ko from inside to outside. So, like, especially when the pandemic started, of course, na ina-avoid natin na mag-receive ng visitor inside the house.
Yeah.
So, for me, it was the perfect timing to extend this because this patio, actually, nagawa ko siya 2020 at around June. And then tapos nag-extend na. And since I started collecting a lot of plants, I need a perfect space for the plants. So yun, nilagyan ko na ng setup. I have to put a garden net, parang mga ganun. And it's part of the exterior part of the house.
Yeah, and just to add kasi, para she interior design. So, not only that she's using inorganic materials, she's also making sure that she's incorporating the nature part in her home.
Thank you.
So ganun din, when you design houses as interior designer, ano talaga, laging part yung nature.
It always depends on the client's briefing, the client wants. Hindi naman kasi lahat ng client, they love plants. No? To incorporate plants inside the house because we have to mean it, having plants inside your house is not easy.
Yes.
They need a certain care para ma-maintain mo yung lushness ng plants and para maging healthy. So it's not easy. You just have to be patient.
Yes.
Tapos syempre parang nag-gym ka niyan kasi once a week labas-pasok yung plants. So diba? So yeah, it always depends on the clients. But as far as my concern and kung I have the free will to give advice to my client. I'd rather incorporate plants sa interior kasi it's the cheapest way to achieve a certain aesthetic. Yeah.
And then napaka-perfect na may kape, di ba?
Oh, yeah.
And the plants and the
I'll give you your bill later.
charge to Green Hobby.
Yeah.
Ayan, pero kayo, saan kayo nag-meet? Sa pagiging plant community ba? Or friends na kayo dati?
Oo, Farrah and I have known each other way back pa 10 or 15 years ago.
Make it 5.
Hindi
Hindi
pa.
halata yung age.
Yesterday.
Babaan mo ng konti. Para hindi halata yung age.
And then it just so happened na we didn't see each other for 5 years.
3 years.
We see each other sa coffee
Oo.
station.
Pero, hindi, yung conversation wala. And plants brought that conversation back between us. So,
actually.
parang yun yung nag-connect sa amin ulit yung plants. So, there. So, just like in the episode that you had with us, again, plants don't only act like decorations. This time, they also act as bridges. Mga long-lost friendships, long-lost relationships, mga ganun.
And take note, last year lang siya nag-start.
Yes.
This year
This
lang.
year.
This year.
Oo.
Tapos na-shock ako. Yung mga dream plant ko, nasa kanya na. Kaya, di ba? Oh, wow. Nag-start naman ako sa pinakamurang plant. Siya nag-start naman sa at the top ba? Okay, but it's true.
Alam na natin yung mga i-edit. And then si Kuya Roy, ikaw naman.
Ako, I meet Farrah through Facebook only. So,
She's very
basically-
famous.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
true.
So, she make it a point that she posts on
Tips.
FB about the plants like that. So, every time she posts, she has this checklist. So, a lot of her plants are mostly rare plants.
At the time,
At
yun
that time,
yung rare.
So, I was challenged because during the time, none of her plants was in my garden. So, I started one plant from there, and then it goes.
Continue na
It
lang.
continues na lang, and then.
What was the first plant that inspired you na from
Nasa checklist ni
Farrah.
Farrah.
Oo.
Actually, because lahat ang mamahal. So, I just started from one plant, the subhashtatum. So, from there, I started.
And then now, is importing plants straight from
Ecuador. Ano diba? Ako hindi. Dito lang ako. So,
From Sabastatum to Ecuador.
Diba?
so actually, I want to ask question. What are the effect what are the effect or ano yung influence or changes of having a garden or being a plant parent to you? Yeah.
Oo. Wala.
There are effects, diba?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So just like what I said also in the previous episode, it
Yeah.
takes a lot of responsibility, especially your time, your effort, and of course your money.
Bucket.
You're not just buying a toy or a shirt that you can get rid of anytime you want. No, again, this is a living thing that you need to take care of 24/7. Just like what recently happened during that typhoon,
Yes.
we didn't sleep the whole night because we were thinking of the plants, right?
Yeah.
If it's just a car or a table or what, a non-living thing, forget it. But those things, those plants have life, so we need to take care of them.
So what are the effects? The effect in you?
Well, right now,
It saves our sanity.
oo. And before, again, just like what I also said earlier, when we distress before, we go to bars. We went to bars. Now, when we distress, we go to the garden. Right?
So it's more of a positive.
And also priorities.
Yes.
So instead of going out with friends, spending more time with them, instead of doing that, we go home and then spend time with plants because this is my watering schedule, this is my watering day, this is my fertilizing day.
Ay, pag ako yung friend, magtatampo ako. Ay, pag ako yung friend, magtatampo ako. Ay, pag ako yung friend, magtatampo ako. Kaya na ako sa plant.
Or
After
pwede
all
naman
these years of
pwede naman yayain.
That's why we have that coffee table also
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
so they can come around and then have coffee while taking care of the plants and appreciate the beauty of the plants.
So yun naman.
Sa akin siguro yung pinaka para maiba dun sa sanity because ganun din, parang isang impact din yun sa akin yung sanity. But I give kasi, trainer kasi ako, facilitator from my other business. But with Green Hobby, nadadala ko yung pagiging trainer, facilitator ko in trying to, parang do this interview, ganyan. So, yung pinaka-impact, parang mas lumalawak yung sense of community mo. I think that's one impact. Like, si Kuya Roy lang yung kilala ko. Pero
You're gonna meet us today.
so I meet you today. I meet you after I meet them. So parang
The famous mother soil.
so parang yun yung isa sa
Lamang lupa, in short.
Hindi, because you're making soil and you're selling it and you're sharing your knowledge and experience
Yes.
with everyone else.
And kasi I have this mentor, Francis. Hi, Francis. I'm gonna give you the link. You have to watch. Kasi minention kita. So, I learned a lot from him. And actually, Francis is horticulturist, graduated in Hawaii. So, he grow plants ever since when I was a fetus. Sorry. So, yung ni Francis, he concentrates on orchids. So, tapos,
Orchids are difficult to grow.
yes, and you have to see his orchids, you have to see his garden. At that time, last year, di ba, mahal ng Monstera.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have a Monstera. And Francis has at least 300 pots of Monstera Deliciosa of around 6 to 7 feet. 300 pots.
wow.
Excluding the mother plant na mas malaki pa siya yung one leaf sa akin. So, that's how long, ganun na siya katagal. And he's really an expert. So, he shared his knowledge to me and to some of my friends, which we are very thankful. And along the way, we also learn on our own by experimenting. Kumbaga, there are many ways to kill a rat. So, you have to experiment which is the best way for you. So, the same din sa pag-grow ng plants. Kasi yung iba, sabi nila, ganito yun, ganito yun, ganito yun. And it doesn't mean na it will work on you. Kasi we have to consider the environment, a lot of factors like the humidity. Well, most likely, pag nasa lowland ka or yung humidity natin, pareho lang. Unlike pag na highland ka, like in Canlaon, their plants, they really grows well. Especially the variegation. Because they have really nice weather. Even at noon time, it's still cold, nagpa-foggy. So, mas maganda. So, talo kami. Yung mga nasa city, compare sa mga highlands, talo yung plants. Unless, na-adapt na talaga ng plants sa environment mo and you really take good care of your plants. Yeah. So,
And you have to consider the plant type and plant care, di ba?
So, when it comes to plant care, I want to stress this. There's no such thing, and it's not true that fertilizer can affect the variegation of your plant. And if you can prove that, please send the link, scientific proof na fertilizer can affect the variegation of the plant. No, because this is very, very, I've seen,
misconception.
yeah,
And sometimes they're using it to make money also.
yes, and I am selling fertilizer, but I don't push that idea just to sell because it's not true anyway.
Yeah.
It all goes down with the specimen, with the condition. Pag tissue culture. Some tissue cultured plants, they are not stable when it comes to variegation. Just like, for example, the Birkin. See? So, hindi yan stable. So, if they tell you na, you use this fertilizer because maggaganda yung ang reverted na plants mo maging variegated, it's not true. It's not true. It goes down with the specimen at the same time. And
Factors also, like the sunlight.
yes. Sun is very important when growing variegated plants. At least 80%.
Dahil dyan, Farrah is going to give away Florida Beauties later.
Kahit hindi to license.
Dahil
Pwede.
dyan, magbibigay ako ng variegated peace lily. So yun. And tapos, there are certain plants that actually they grow well with constant and aggressive feeding. Like for example, the Milano grape. Yung Milano constant ano siya. And Roy actually,
Yeah, I have one.
maganda yung Milano niya. Sa akin hindi. Actually, yes. I have friends na magaganda yung Milano nila.
Yeah.
Sa akin 1 year na yan, hanggang ngayon 2 leaves pa rin. So, I did everything. Constant feeding,
Prayers.
I dance. I dance. I dance. I dance.
Dance in one attire.
Secret.
Or
depende,
no attire.
depende
No
kung
attire.
anong oras yan. Hating gabi or ano. Nag-change ko ng medium, change ko siya ng location, lahat na lang. But still, ganun pa rin. So, sa akin, it depends sa area ko. May area, maybe it's not too
Conducive.
for the Milano kasi yung friend ko nakasabay ko the same seller na binigyan na binilhan namin, maganda na yung Milano niya. Saan dalawa pa lang, o diba, natutulog siya forever.
Dormant lang siya.
So yun, pinabayaan ko na lang. Kumbaga sa Ilonggo, importante buwi. Diba?
Kulton na ka.
So actually for me Milano, ano niya, iti-test niya kung yung pasensya. Oo, kung hanggang saan. Test niya talaga. Pero si Roy maganda yung Milano.
I don't know, maybe the location.
Yeah.
And
Plus all other plants, not just Milano eh.
Mm.
Diba? From my area, from the indoor setup, tapos pag-transfer sa place mo,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Tapos the area kasi may mga trees,
Yes.
And
Yes.
maganda yung circulation.
yung air,
Yun.
enough
That's a
sun
factor.
lang.
Factor. The factor.
actually, may Milano gives me 1 leaf after 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Now and then from 5 inches, now it grows around 18 inches.
Mamimigay siya ng Milano for
Yes.
Yes. Diba?
Dahil dyan.
Dahil dyan.
Later.
Free Milano leaf.
Okay, so ikaw naman, kasi you're a aglaw collector. And hindi ako expert sa aglaw. So, and not just aglaw. These are, top of the line. So can you give us inputs on how to take good care of these?
Basically the same because they still belong to the ROH family.
Yeah.
So the medium, everything else is the same except for the cocoa chunks. So I don't add that. So we have rice hull, carbonized rice hull, peat, and then the pumice. That's it. And then the watering once a week because they're more prone, I believe, I think, to rotting than philodendrons where you can water philodendrons twice a week or even every day sometimes. That's it.
What about the growth pattern of aglaw? Are they fast growers,
Yes,
slow growers?
so long as you provide them the needed requirements like light, proper lighting. So not only that we have sunlight, we also have grow lights, especially right now.
So most likely yung percentage ng our light intensity for the whole day is at around 70.
Around 70. Well, they are variegated plants. They are considered as variegated plants, so they need more light than any other plant, especially those green ones. So
But filtered.
yes, of course. Filtered. There's another term actually for filtered. Anyway, not direct because they get easily burned. They need constant, consistent light for them to maintain that beauty, that beautiful variegation. Otherwise, they're gonna also revert. Well, for the growth, we make sure that we fertilize also weekly. Actually, there's like a saying, weekly. So So I fertilize weekly, but not the full dosage. So I only use half. I use the triple 20, the trace elements, the Chinese Japanese, the HB 101. I call it Chinese Japanese, and then the Formex. Oh, the rooting Formex.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about wish plans. You still have wish plans or mga dream plans?
Yes. So in my case, I'm not really buying to get a golden hope because I think it's very expensive and it's impractical.
What is a golden hope? It's
It's the PSS or the
Holy Grail.
Yes, of the agonemas. So I just wanted to have in my top 3 lang romantic love, Goliath, and then the red asri. That's it. If I'll be given the chance to have them, I'll be happy na kid. Talaga.
So pero may
Sure.
timeline yon kung kailan?
Actually next year. Well, Shani's just waiting for the for the holidays to end, and then we're gonna. She has actually contacted already the supplier from Indonesia, so we got hold na of Goliath and Red Asri. I'm just waiting for Romantic Love. So by next year siguro, we're gonna have that.
What about you when it comes to Singonyo?
Well, the number 1 is actually the red spot.
Wala ka pa red
Singonyo,
spot.
no. But it's still expensive.
Is it the red spot or the tricolor?
Red spot tricolor.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's actually my dream plan.
The
or
price,
wish plan.
market price at around this time is
Still 100.
Still under 50 to 100,000.
really.
Yes.
So it's impractical.
It's practical. But I have albo and the
Oreo.
And the scrambled egg.
Scrambled
Yes.
egg, yeah.
So that I'm good.
Yeah. So walang pressure.
Wala. No pressure.
Oh, yeah, Roy.
For me, for now, I don't have one specific plans na dream ko ngayon. For me, now, I just take care of whatever plans I have. Especially those coming from Ecuador. So, I have to acclimate them first. And then, let's see if it works. Then, I guess I would go for another step also.
Speaking of acclimation, can you give us some advice or tips on how to acclimate plants?
For me, I don't have specific steps on acclimating my plants. What I do, I just do it on a natural way. Like when the plants arrive from my place, I just put it in one space that it has no sunlight.
In the
And then
hours,
in the evening, I just put it in my garden along with my other plants so that they can have that
Tunog,
tunog.
kumbaga.
Tunog. And then,
Yung evening dew.
yeah,
Evening dew.
evening dew. And then on the morning, before the sunrise, I just keep it again in one place.
Are you still using the humidifier?
I use it once, and then, but I don't have grow lights, so,
Extra grow lights.
yeah.
Extra LED. I just found out this morning. One light spare.
Wow. Maybe you can give it for free for me.
I don't know.
So, out of, let's say, you bought 10. Out of 10, they all survived during the acclimation
Actually, my
period.
first batch, I have 3 plants.
That,
Like, after a month, then they have a stripe in my garden. So
they
now,
all survived.
Yeah.
The 3.
Mm.
And then the latest.
The latest, I think they will be striving more because the condition when they arrive, it's better than
The first
batch, and considering the climates now, so hopefully they will thrive easily.
So how long is the period of acclimation that you na masasabi naman, okay, this is ready to release or this is actually okay na to? Stable na to. How long?
Based on my experience on the first batch, ay siguro ano na yon, 1 month, medyo okay na sila. And then you can see the new leaves na coming out. So hopefully it will not sunod-sunod.
But I've heard on some collectors and gardens that there are certain plants, specifically philodendrons, that are really hard to be for acclimation.
Just like the one that starts with letter F, it requires 100%. No.
Forcatum.
It requires 100% humidity.
Actually, I have that one when nung dumating siya, bali tuyo yung dahon, ganyan. So what I do, kinat out ko na yung mga sirang dahon, and then I just one friend, Jo, she advised me to put it in one shady area, like the plants with yung malalaki yung dahon. So doon ko nilagay, and then after 3 weeks makikita mo na yung changes na lumalabas na yung green. So
ang forcatum mo na survive.
Yeah.
May leaves na siya ngayon.
Lalabas pa lang yun.
Lalabas
Wow.
I think ganun, no, yung parang yung acclimation. Dahil hindi tayo horticulturist. Parang ino-observe lang talaga natin how the plants respond to our space. Tapos lipat-lipat, di
And
ba?
eventually the plant will adjust.
Yeah.
We are living things, so they know how to survive in the worst situation.
Yeah.
So they always remember that these plants, the philodendron, the aroids, they grow in a rainforest. So the best way is to mimic the natural environment where they came from.
Yeah.
Coming
Ikaw,
from
anong wish
the
plant
Diwata,
mo?
from the rainforest.
At this point in time, I really don't have wish plants because I buy whatever is available that I still don't have that if I can afford. Before last year when I started, it's coming from my own, from your own pocket. Now, I buy my plants coming from the sales of my propagation.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. It's like for me now, I will not buy plants if I don't have the money from my own sales.
Yes.
Tama na yun. And besides, you have to make sure buying plants, you also have to consider your space. Not just buying.
Yeah.
Now, if you got all this kind of philodendron with big leaves, you have to think of the upcoming or the future nga. Do I have the space when these plants are matured?
Yes.
So that's why I let go some of the plants that I love all my plants, but there are plants that you really want to hold on, and some plants that you want to let go. So you let go some of the plants in exchange of other plants coming in. You have to remember the space. You have to consider your space. Do you have enough space? If the plants are anong tawag doon? Rollers or runners. Do you have the or what's the other crowning? Yeah. So consider the type of plants you buy and your space.
Yes.
It's very important. Very, very important. It's not just like buy. Tapos wala ka ng space. Tapos yung growth ng plants mo not that healthy.
Yeah.
Kasi they're not getting enough sunlight or they don't have the space. Tapos you as a gardener, as a plant parent, you're not doing your job.
Yeah. To close this conversation, first of all, thank you kay Miss Farrah na nag-open ng kanyang beautiful house. Specific this place.
Closing na ba?
Oo.
May dance naman.
Pwedeng merong doon mamaya. Para
Later.
ibang naman. Ibang background. Pero yun, thank you for
Palit ako
opening
ng
your
costume.
house to us.
Ma-pole dance siya.
Oo.
And your beautiful garden din, no? At
Sayang, hindi mainit. But,
ayun, pero yung closing natin, yun, if meron kayong gustong i-advise dun sa mga future plant parents, yung never either takot or nag-isip pa lang na mag-start ng kanilang plant journey, ano yung gusto ninyong sabihin sa kanila?
So, Farrah na lang
Oo.
give that.
Si Farrah.
Kasi we gave na in the last episode.
Yes.
Dear Ate Charo. No, the best advice I think that I can share to you guys is when you start collecting plants, go for the basic first, yung pinaka-easiest. So you will learn from it. And then by the time na alam niyo na yung basic, then it's time to level up. And you also have to consider the space, your resources, your time when taking good care of plants, because it's a full-time job. You know, it's a full-time job. It's not just na, okay, bili ako tapos
Water.
yeah, nakakalimutan mo mag-water, nakakalimutan mo mag-fertilizer. You have to feed them. They are living thing. So you have to feed them, you have to take good care of them, you give them shelter, you water them. So it's a responsibility. And if you think you can't do this, you better not. Kasi kawawalan yung plants. I think that's all. It's the basic, or the most important advice. If you think you can take good care of plants and be a responsible plant parent, then go. But if you think you can't do all these responsibilities, then better not. Pag sinabi mo, I have yaya naman, I have maid naman, blah, 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 blah. It's different kung ikaw talaga. Yes, you have the yaya, you have the maid, but you take part.
Yeah.
Hindi lahat ng oras siya lang. No, you take part. Like for example, in a week, at least you have a day or two, or even a half, or couple of hours na maglibot ng garden mo to check your plants. So you learn the basic, you learn the growth, you learn the process of growing plants. Kasi hindi lahat ng plants pare-pareho yan. So kasi they're expensive na expensive. So actually plants right now is considered as social status, diba? Before kasi mga designers goods, no? You buy bags, designers bags, mas mahal pa ngayon yung plants sa designers bags.
Yeah.
So diba? Certain plant 1.2 million, diba? Ganun na. So, you take good care of them because you spend money on them and they deserve it. They deserve it. And they'll give you the joy na hindi mo makikita sa ibang bagay, sa ibang aspect.
Ayun. So, thank you very much again to Louie, to Roy, to Kim, and to Farrah.
And thank you too for inviting us or for having us. So we share, we share our knowledge. And sa palagay mo?
Sa palagay ko, magkano ang bill dito?
Okay, yun lang.
But yun, thank you very much and I hope you enjoy this conversation with this group of friends here in Bacolod City.